Let me tell you a story about a young watchmaker and an impossible clock, because inside this simple story is a quiet power that never fades. Leo inherited a small, dusty watch shop from his father, a man who had once been one of the finest craftsmen in the country. The shop was filled with tiny tools, magnifying glasses, and the gentle ticking of dozens of clocks. Leo was talented, extremely talented. He understood how delicate gears and springs worked together to measure time. But he was impatient. He hated small repairs, replacing batteries, cleaning old watches, fixing simple cracks. In his mind, he wasn't meant for ordinary work. He believed he was destined for greatness. His sketchbooks were filled with magnificent designs, clocks with spinning planets, moving figures, mechanical masterpieces the world had never seen. He loved starting them, but he never finished them. The moment he faced a difficult problem, a gear that wouldn't align, a mechanism he couldn't solve, his excitement vanished. He would push the project aside and wait for a new idea. Meanwhile, the shop slowly began to fail. Dust gathered on the counters. Customers stopped coming. The ticking grew quieter. One morning, an old, wealthy man entered the shop. He placed a beautiful but silent grandfather clock on the counter. It was made of dark, polished wood and engraved brass. "My father left this to me," the man said softly. "It hasn't ticked in 50 years. Every watchmaker says it's beyond repair. They say your father was the only one who could fix it." He looked at Leo carefully. "They say you have his talent. I will pay you enough to save this shop if you can make it work." A surge of excitement shot through Leo. This wasn't boring, this was legendary. "I'll do it," Leo said confidently. For the first few days, he worked with passion, carefully taking the clock apart piece by piece. It felt thrilling. But then the real work began. The clock had over 1,000 parts. Each one had to be cleaned, measured, inspected. It was slow, repetitive, painfully boring. After a week, his motivation was gone. Frustrated, he knocked a tray of tiny screws onto the floor. As he knelt to pick them up, he felt something worse than anger. He felt like a failure. That night, ready to quit, he began cleaning out his old father's desk. Inside a hidden drawer, he found leather-bound journals. They were his father's work logs. He expected to read about genius and inspiration. Instead, he found simple entries. Cleaned Mrs. Gable's watch. Took 3 hours. Failed to fix town hall clock today. Will try again tomorrow. Repaired a young boy's watch for free. His smile was payment. Page after page, steady, ordinary work. At the end of one journal, his father had written, "A man who works only when inspired will have many beginnings and no endings." The great clock does not tick because it feels inspired. It ticks because it follows its rule, second after second. Show up first. The feeling may come later. The words hit Leo deeply. His father wasn't a genius because he was always inspired. He was a genius because he always showed up. The next morning, Leo made a decision. He would work on the clock for 4 hours every morning, no matter what. Even if bored, even if frustrated, even if he felt nothing at all, just show up. The first few days were difficult. One morning, he spent 4 hours cleaning a single stubborn part with almost no visible progress. The old Leo would have quit. The new Leo simply said, "I'll try again tomorrow." Slowly, something began to change. He started feeling a quiet pride, not from big ideas, but from careful work. He began to notice the beauty and precision, the perfect fit of 2 gears, the shine of polished brass. He wasn't just fixing a clock, he was building character. 3 weeks later, he found it. A single, tiny, bent tooth on a hidden gear, so small it was almost invisible. He fixed it, carefully reassembled the 1,000 pieces, hung the pendulum, gave it a gentle push. Silence. Then, tick, tick, tick. It was the most beautiful sound he had ever heard, not because the clock worked, but because he had become the kind of man who could make it work. The old man returned the next day. He stood quietly, listening to the steady rhythm. A tear rolled down his cheek. "My father used to wind this clock every Sunday morning," he said softly. "I haven't heard this sound since I was a boy. You didn't just fix a clock, you gave me back a piece of my life." In that moment, Leo understood. The work wasn't about genius, it wasn't about inspiration, it was about service, about steady, honest effort, about showing up. So what is the lesson for us? Motivation is the spark. Discipline is the engine. A spark can start the car, but only the engine carries you on the long journey. If you rely only on motivation, you will live a life full of exciting beginnings and unfinished endings. Learn to love the process. The real reward is not finishing the project. The real reward is becoming the kind of person who can finish it. And when you don't feel like working, that is when it matters most. Don't worry about the whole staircase. Just take the next step. Write one sentence, clean one gear, make one call. Great things are not built by lightning. They are built by the quiet, unstoppable power of showing up, day after day after day.